Okay, we're talking today about school corruption. This is my first YouTube video. It's extreme country. Now, I live in Windsor, Virginia. My child, my son goes to Isle of Wight, goes to Windsor High School in Isle of Wight County. Now, I know of an individual who is a teacher that does not teach at Isle of Wight County schools, but at one point had as many as 5 children illegally enrolled in Isle of Wight County schools between the high school and the middle school. Now, I reported this incident to the principal at Windsor High School. She ignored it. I gave her the evidence. They ignored it. I gave it time, let it be. After a few months, nothing happened. So I reported it again. Um, but this time, I took the evidence, multiple copies. I delivered it to the Windsor High School, the Windsor Middle School, and the Isle of Wight County School Board. Once again, after some time and their investigation, that now they did an investigation, the Isle of Wight County School Board decided to basically tell the parent or guardian of those children that they needed to remove the children from the school or pay the current year's tuition fees. So at that time, there was just 3 children still remaining at that school in the school systems illegally. So it was $2,000 per child per semester each half of the year. So she was required to pay $6,000 for the 3 children for the first half of the year, and to have the one child remain for the remainder of the year in the high school had to pay an additional. So $8,000 total is what they required her to pay. Now, so they completely ignored the previous 2, 3 years of as, like I said, as many as 5 children. So you figure 5 children have, what was it, $4,000 a year? That's $20,000. Now go forward the next year. I think one of them graduated, so there was 4 children. That's still another $16,000. So that's racked up to $36,000. Then going forward the next year, still 4 children, another $16,000. So you're at what were we? 36. That's $56,000. Then go forward the following year, tack in. Now they're down to 3, and that's still, and they paid for that. They paid for that one, so they're still in the hole. What was it? $50,000 or $52,000? Anyway, so the school is ignoring that part. One, and or the Isle of Wight County School Board, whoever, they're ignoring that. Not to mention, they decided not to report it to the authorities. They just did their little thing and said, yeah, we're not going to report it to the proper authorities to see to actual face for them to face actual criminal charges. Okay, so I gave them information on several other women around the country, mainly Northeast, and um, one particular one that stands out in my mind is a Miss Williams Bowler in Akron, Ohio, who had two children, just two, enrolled into a school where Miss Williams Bowler's father lived. And she was, in part, taking care of him because he had had a stroke or something. I don't remember the exact details. But she was a, Miss Williams Bowler was a um, teacher assistant for children with special needs, and she was going to college, and she was almost finished with getting her teaching degree to teach um, children with disabilities. So kudos to her. She was trying to do something to better her life, provide for her children, and so forth. But since the school decided to push those charges against her, which she was a low income black woman, um, in Akron, Ohio, I do believe it was, um, they hit her with, I do believe, $5,000 per child and sentenced her to upward around 5 years in prison and charged her with felonies. So therefore, in the state of Ohio, she can no longer get her teaching degree and become a teacher. So all that schooling out the window. Okay. Now, my thing is there's other cases like that in Virginia, Washington D.C., New Hampshire, New York, all up and down all over the country. But I brought this to the Isle of Wight County School Board's attention and the Windsor High School's attention and the Windsor Middle School attention, and they just did a little no. Give us the tuition for this year. We're not concerned about the uh, previous years, and we're not going to report it to the authorities. Now, yeah, I can see they recouped some money, allegedly. Don't know. They can't disclose that information to me. But also, they didn't report it to the authorities because um, the said teacher that was doing this illegally knew what she was doing was illegal and was friends with the principal of Windsor High School and so forth. They just swept it under the rug. Now, I don't know if it's because it's a small community and everybody basically knows everybody. The principal went to school at one time at the high school that she's now the principal of. And I'm sure she probably knows people that's on the sheriff's department because the funny thing about Windsor and Isle of Wight is the sheriff, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. I contacted the Windsor police about the crime, and the Windsor police said it's at the school. They don't deal with the crimes at the school. Wait a minute. So you have a police department in Windsor that doesn't deal with crime at a school. Got it. Makes no sense to me. However, you're supposed to contact the sheriffs. Well, sat down with the sheriff, and they said that they not going to do anything. So you got the police that don't get involved with crimes committed at the school, and then you got the sheriff's department that says that they're not going to do anything about a crime that was committed at the school. Doesn't really make sense to me, but hey, you know. So now I also reported this incident to the Virginia Department of Education, which they said that you have to deal with the local school administrators. I told them I dealt with the local school administrators. They don't want to do anything. So it's okay for a low income black woman who's trying to better herself and get a teaching degree to help children with disabilities and so forth and everything, then to nail her to the wall and ruin her life. But, oh, maybe I didn't mention this part. The teacher that was enrolling these children illegally was a middle class white woman that enrolled children in Isle of Wight county schools illegally. So the Isle of Wight county schools doesn't want to do anything to a middle class white woman. And they don't even have to do anything. All they have to do is report it to the authorities. Then it goes on to the authorities. The authorities kick it on to the prosecutors and so forth, and they decide if there's anything to prosecute, which there is. I know it's just a class 2 misdemeanor or something like that, or a class 4 misdemeanor in Virginia, but there's several years, several accounts, multiple children, and so forth. So I just, I'm baffled. Why is it not okay for a low income black woman to do this and they get nailed to the wall, but for a middle class white woman, eh, no biggie. Now, is this because of Isle of Wight, which I've spoken to quite a few people at the football games and stuff and so forth? Black individuals were at the football game. We started communicating, talking. Everything's going good. And they've expressed a concern about Isle of Wight County being, for lack of a better term, I won't say that they're racist, but they seem to not be as concerned with a white teacher committing a crime versus other places that are more concerned with black women doing the same crime. Um, I just don't see the equality. Now, I sent a letter to Reverend Al Sharpton, never heard anything back. Also, Reverend Jeff C. Jackson, never heard anything back. Also sent letters to um, mention this to the NAACP, localized NAACP, never heard anything back. Um, Also, Virginia Department of Education, which they don't want to get involved in a Virginia school or deal with a Virginia teacher. Um, so I'm making a YouTube video. If everybody likes it, feel free to contact your local whoever and say something. I don't know. I'm just at my end. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's equal. I'm not going to say who the teacher that committed the crime because that would be inappropriate because it hasn't been broadcast on the news. Miss Williams Bowler, that was in the news article. Therefore, it's already public knowledge. It's already out there. So I'm within my rights to mention that. You can look it up. Williams Bowler, Akron, Ohio. She got hammered. And even a lot of the people didn't think it was right. But the courts did it anyway. And there's several other cases around the country that this has been a problem. But now here in Isle of Wight County, Windsor High School, Windsor Middle School, a white teacher did the same crime, and they just kind of, we ain't gonna worry about it. Is that because you're in a small community, so it's okay? But then again, Miss, can't say her name, same teacher did the same crime in City of Suffolk Public Schools. I brought it to their attention. They ignored it. So it seems that if you stay in the um, Suffolk, Isle of Wight, which ain't far from each other. You stay out this way, it's kind of out of the way a little bit. They kind of let things go. For a white teacher, she's allowed to do whatever she wants. Now, hopefully, this gets some traction, gets some views, and people start to make a little bit of noise. And I even asked for the resignation of the assistant superintendent at the Windsor High School, or not the Windsor High School, the superintendent Windsor Isle of Wight super, the assistant Windsor. I'm screwing this up. The Windsor, not Windsor, the assistant Isle of Wight superintendent, or the Isle of Wight assistant superintendent. Tried to talk to the superintendent, never heard anything. Didn't want to talk. Then I had some other lady there. They called me. I spoke with her. Turns out she's not the superintendent. She's not the assistant superintendent. She's nobody. She deals with curriculum or something like that. What's being taught there, not with somebody doing something wrong. But she came off, and I didn't find this out until later. She came off like she was the superintendent. She was in charge. She was the one making the decision. And I don't exactly know what the deal was with that. But anyway, so anyway, that's all we have for now. Um, my name is my name is Hal. This is Extreme Video. Extreme Video. Ah, Jesus. This is gonna be my first video on Extreme Country. Um, hope get some likes, some shares, some views, and hopefully we can get some subscribers. I appreciate it. Y'all take care. Be good to each other.